Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the first Battle Pass vehicle of 2025, and the name of the Battle Pass 2. The name is actually the last Legionnaire, which I'm guessing is either a reference to Italy or a reference to something else, but the prize that we're having a look at today is going to be a rank 3 premium dive bomber, and it's also a vehicle that we've seen before. It's the SB2C5, which is currently in the French tech tree, and then there's a variant in the American tech tree, which is incredibly similar to this vehicle. So this is kind of a copy-paste American vehicle, but it's not in the American tech tree. It's actually in the Japanese tech tree, of all things. And the reason why it's in the Japanese tech tree is because of the fact this is the version that served in the Royal Thai Air Force. So with the Thai subtree coming to Japan, Thailand also gets a pretty cool dive bomber for the Battle Pass. Now, the SB2C5 is one of my most played vehicles because of specific reasons we'll go into later on. But safe to say, this is actually a really good Battle Pass vehicle. I know it doesn't seem it, and I know it seems pretty boring and pretty dull, but we'll go through why this vehicle is a great pickup for anybody who likes to grind events or likes to grind anything in the Battle Pass itself. Let's get into the history of the Thai SB2C5. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. The SB2C5 was the last production variant of the Curtiss Helldiver 2-seat carrier-based dive bomber. The aircraft was produced in both the US and also Canada under license during the final stages of the Second World War. However, it did not have time to participate in combat over the Pacific Ocean. In the post-war period, the SB2C5 modification was actively exported, including to Thailand, where they were used during the suppression of the uprising in the north of the country during the 1950s. So when you look at the SB2C5, it's not something which is an inspired choice, right? As we talked about yesterday with the Battle Pass leaks, if it's just a copy-paste vehicle, this is one of the better ones that it could have been, but it's still kind of dull, since it is just a complete copy-paste of another vehicle that we have in the game, the French SB2C5. But it isn't a bad vehicle, right? And that, I think, is something that needs to be made sure it's understood. If you've never played the Helldiver series, it's one of those which can actually get a lot done in the game and also offers something which many other bombers don't. Since this is labeled as a torpedo or a dive bomber, you can use it in many situations and get dailies and specials and even challenges done really effectively. So the SB2C5, it has a lot of external, or I suppose secondary weapons, you would class it as. It also has two 20mm autocannons that it has in the wings, which provide a lot of firepower, but what you can bring alongside these two 20mm is 450 cals. So you can just go out and be a fighter with this thing, and it gets a very high air spawn since it's a bomber, so therefore you're in a great position to be able to pick off fighters, pick off other bombers, and even strike aircraft with the vehicle. It's also really good at ground pounding, because 50 cals and 20mm in tandem are able to annihilate ground forces, whether it's the lighter ones like howitzers and AAs, or whether it's like pillboxes, you will just shred through them. This vehicle also has a bunch of other types of secondary armament too. It has two types of torpedoes, it can carry some rockets, it has access to a bunch of bombs, including 250s to 1,000 pounders, and also even up to 1,600 pound armor-piercing bomb that it can bring along. But the reason why you use this vehicle is because of the fact that it's either a very good anti-fighter bomber, or it's a vehicle that's very good at ground pounding in air realistic. The vehicle itself doesn't have a very good climb rate, it doesn't have crazy speed, but it does have really good maneuverability because of its wings, and also has incredibly good flaps and an air brake, if you want to use that, to be able to slow down and go around. And as somebody who's used the French version a lot and also the American version a lot, I can't sing the praises enough of this vehicle. And why is that? Well, it's rank 3. And unfortunately, recently, they moved down the Helldiver in the American tree to rank 2, which means that it can't do half of the dailies and all of the specials that exist. So the limitation has been playing the French SP2C5 to get stuff like mass destruction done, to get stuff like air superiority done, and also other stuff such as Hero of the Sky. These 3 separate dailies or specials are really easy to do in the SP2C5 because it's so good at ground pounding, and because it gets that air spawn, you can get to the battlefield the quickest, and all you have to do is defend yourself against the strike aircraft such as the Wyvern or such as stuff like the Me-410s, and because of this thing with its firepower and also its maneuverability, you can do that really, really well. It's one of the best ground pounders in the game, and it's also a bomber. And usually when it comes to dailies, especially when it comes to air, there's usually one which either is destroy stuff with a strike aircraft or destroy stuff with a bomber. And with bombers, you don't have many which have really good offensive armaments that are also easy to control. And the SP2C5 has both, which is why it's a fantastic pick to be able to do these dailies, to do these specials, and also these challenges. From a ground point of view, the vehicle has a bunch of 50 cals. It also has a bunch of 20s, and it has some bigger bombs if you want to use those. But the major thing with this vehicle is it can pen the roof of pretty much all Panzer IVs and even Shermans and also other, vehicles with the 50 cals and with the 20s. So you can annihilate stuff even in ground forces with this loadout that it has. And then also it's able to defend itself. That's why this vehicle is so nice to be able to use. It's a really good multi-role vehicle. The other thing is it gets a really good torpedo too, which you don't see as much because it's at a bit of an odd BR for naval, but it does mean that you can bring your kind of low reserve blue water vehicles up into rank 3 with this thing. So once again, getting them to do dailies, getting them to do specials and stuff like that. Because remember, if you click on a rank 3 vehicle in your lineup, that brings your lineup up to rank 3, even if everything else is rank 1. And that is a really super useful thing to do in naval, especially if you're trying to grind out specific challenges or even naval events that are going on. And with Japan having the kind of naval side of things that they have, it generally can be very useful. So even though this vehicle isn't inspired, even though it is just a copy-paste of another one, they couldn't have picked a better vehicle to be a copy-paste of. They could have picked, a B-24 or a B-17, and if it was just a full copy-paste, it just would have been very boring. But with the SP2C5, you get something that is not unique, but is going to be incredibly powerful in the game and mean that you can be incredibly efficient at doing what you want, while also being a great grinder for the early areas of the tree. I actually really like the fact that they've added this thing, and I know the Helldiver is one of those, which maybe not the most inspired, but is going to be fantastic. Now, the actual name of the Battle Pass, the Last Legionnaire, obviously that could be some Italian thing, it could be something from, of course, the Roman era. It also means that we might get some really cool decorations and decals and also insignias from that area too, which would be kind of cool. We did actually have a kind of Romanesque Battle Pass really early on in the Battle Pass setups with the Centurion, which turned up, but I don't think it's going to be another Centurion. I think it will probably be something else. Maybe either some Italian design or maybe something used by Italy, which is American. Maybe like an M47 or maybe something similar to that, because I don't think Italy actually got access to Centurions. I might be wrong though, who knows? At the end of the day, we're going to actually have to have a look at. I would love to hear your opinions on what you want to see, and also whether you like this vehicle or not. Do you prefer more unique stuff in the Battle Pass? Do you prefer stuff which is good grinders? Or do you prefer stuff which can efficiently do Battle Pass stuff or other things as well? Let's see what 2025 brings. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shea, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.